This is our first look at a Wave 10 ship. This time we've got the Vidians. It's the first time we've gotten this faction in the game. They have some interesting abilities. They weren't really one of my favorites out of the show, so I don't know too much about their history and stuff. I remember seeing them there, but that's about it. Anyway, we'll get right in and take a look. So here we have our Bedian ship dial, independent faction. It's a decently maneuverable ship. Everything but the one tight turns has that come about in there, and tops out at a 4 forward. Then we have our Bedian battle cruiser. You can see there it's got pretty much every maneuver except for the one hard turns up to that 4 forward. Then we have our named Fina Prime. It's unique, an independent faction. 3 attack, 2 evade, 5 hull, 3 shield. Pretty respectable stats. We have 2 weapon, 2 crew mounts for 26 points. Evasive, target lock, scan, and battle stations. Always nice to see battle stations. And as an action, we can target a ship at range 1 and force that ship to discard one of its active shield tokens. Place an auxiliary token beside your ship. So at the cost of giving yourself an auxiliary, you can actually remove a shield. It's nice because it's not a disable, it's actually removed. Then we have our generic Vidian battle cruiser. You're losing 1 shield and 1 crew slot for 24 points. For our captains, we have a Bedian commander. He's unique. Captain skill is 7 for 4 points, 1 elite talent. And his ability is that you may add +1 attack die when you initiate an attack using the Grappler, Hypothermic Charges, or when performing an action listed on the Bedian boarding party crew upgrade. Definitely has its usefulness. Then we have our generic Bedian captain. Captain skill 1, 0 points. For our elite talent, we have decisive orders. 4 points. When attacking a ship that has no active shields during the modify attack dice step, you may discard this card and choose up to 2 of your attack dice and re-roll them, even if they've already been re-rolled. Multiple dice re-rolls are always nice. They're hard to come by. There's only a handful of cards that offer them. And this combines nice with the named ship's action that lets you remove a shield, so you can knock them down to those 0 shields so that you can use this ability. For our crew upgrades, we have Soolam. It's unique, 3 points. As an action, you can target a ship at range 1 and discard this card and 1 crew of your choice on the target ship. If you're grappling the target ship, you may also disable 2 other crew upgrades on that ship. This ability may be used against a ship that is cloaked. That's actually really nice because their shields are already down. Use this in combination with the commander, who gives you the +1 attack die afterward. So definitely has its uses. Discarding a crew and disabling a crew, it's definitely good against things like the Federation, which run really crew heavy ships. Next we have Giraffe. 1 point. If one of your crew upgrades, including this one, is affected by an enemy ship, you may disable 1 crew upgrade of your choice on the enemy ship. Again, another one that's good against Federation crew-heavy ships, or anybody that's running crew targeting abilities. Borg have a few. Basically protects every time they want to use something against your crew. It's going to cost them one of their crew for a turn at least to reactivate them. So makes them think twice about targeting your crew. Next we have Dinara Pell. 1 point. As an action, you target a ship at range 1, discard this card, and 1 crew upgrade of your choice on the target ship. If you're grappling the ship, discard this card, or disable this card instead of discarding it. So it can be reused, and it can be used against cloaking ships, which is also a very nice thing. Last we have Bedian boarding party, 4 points. As an action, if your ship's not cloaked, disable all your remaining shields and target a ship at range 1 that's not cloaked and has no shields. Again, plays in with the named ship's ability to remove shields. Discard, and roll 4 attack dice. For each hit or critical, the target ship must discard 1 crew upgrade of your choice. If you're grappling the ship, you may perform this action as a free action, which is really nice. And it also combines with the captain's ability, giving you the extra attack die in the combat phase. So many of the upgrades have mentioned the Grappler. There we have it. It's a weapon upgrade, 4 points. Has an attack value of 3. You disable this card to perform the attack. It does damage as normal. In addition, if you inflict at least 1 damage to the target's hull, you place a grapple token beside the ship and the corresponding token beside your ship. And it comes with these red and blue grapple tokens, because everyone knows we needed more tokens for this game. And what does grappling someone do? We get an additional rules card explaining what the grappling does. While a ship has a red grapple token against it, the ship follows the special rules. When attacking, the ship rolls 1 less attack die. Each time the ship defends, it rolls 1 less defense die. During the planning phase, the ship's owner cannot select a move with a speed greater than 2. At the end of the activation phase, if the grappled ship is no longer within range 1 of the grappling ship, remove the corresponding grappling tokens. During the combat phase, a grappled ship may forego its attack, roll a number of attack dice equal to its primary weapon value. If it rolls at least 2 hits or crits, remove the corresponding tokens and you basically break free. So, it limits your movement, it limits your attack and defense while you're grappled. Very similar to the Borg tractor beams. And our last upgrade card for this is Hypothermic Charges. 5 points. It has an attack of 3, range 1 to 2. Disable this card to perform the attack, which means it's reusable, which is nice. All damage inflicted by this attack ignores opponent's shields, also very nice. If the opponent's ship has no active shields, you may choose any number of your attack dice to re-roll them, and it can be only purchased for Bedian ships. Probably the best card in the pack, 3-die attack that ignores shields, right on par with like the Polaron beams. The added bonus that if their shields are already down, which plays into the name ship's ability to lower shields, you get to reroll the dice. You can even combine that with like decisive orders that allows you to reroll again to make sure that those 3 stick. Not sure you'd want to waste a second reroll on that, but the option's there. Definitely interesting. So what else do we get with the pack? You have the 3 disables here that can be used for the various upgrades and crew. You have target lock P1. We have our grapple blue and red tokens. We have 3 shields, the critical and auxiliary power token. We have evasive, battle stations, and scan tokens. Our extra rules card for the grappler. So far behind on missions at this point, it's not even funny, but we get another mission with this one called Deadlock. And I haven't even begun to touch it to know what it's about. Looks like Federation versus Bedian. The Federation's outnumbered. And there's various special rules. Subspace Divergent, Alternate Reality Ship. I think this is the one where the ship split in 2, now that I'm thinking about it. And there were 2 Harry Kims. Not positive on that though, but anyway, another mission. Always nice to have more missions. The ship itself is kind of a disappointment. It's extremely large, which is nice, but at the same time, with the newer ships that have come out, like the Hirogen ship and the recent Romulan drone ship, an amazing amount of detail in them. This thing looks like something that came out of a McDonald's Happy Meal. The detail on it is absolutely atrocious. It's like a big chunk of plastic. I mean, they put in these vents and things. They're there. You could paint them to look nice. It's just, out of the box, it actually looks really bad. My one thought, though, when I first saw it, was with the size of the ship, I am surprised that it didn't go on the larger style bases, like the Borg cubes. Just for reference, I mean, here's a base off the Borg cube. It would fit on that base with no problems. It actually looks a little bit silly on the smaller base that it actually came with. Your standard size base, it's huge and dwarfs it, even more so than the Eldor did. So kind of looks a little bit weird in that respect, but being a smaller base ship makes it easier to play, I guess. There we have our named Fina Prime. 90-degree fire arc to the front. And our generic Bedian battle cruiser, again 90-degree to the front. And I mentioned this in the last wave, and apparently it's going to be a continuing trend, if I can get it to focus. But the bases no longer have the chevron arrow in the front, and I think that's the way it's ongoing forward. It looks like the attack wing D&D bases are the same way now, so they must have switched their process in making them. Small annoyance, nothing major. Overall, it's an interesting expansion. A lot of anti-crew things, good for fighting against the Federation. The pack itself really depends on what you're playing. If you're looking at playing independent as a standalone faction, then this combined with all the other independent factions makes a really interesting addition. If you're looking at playing Vidians as a pure faction, don't think there's quite enough here. You could run a Vidian pure ship and have an ally with other independents. I could see that happening, but as a standalone, they're going to be kind of rough to play right now. And as for buying multiples of the same ship, the generic version of the ship is nice. The downside is that almost every single upgrade that comes in this expansion, with the exception of the Grappler and the Hypothermic Charges, everything else is unique. So those two cards are the only thing you're going to be getting out of this if you buy a multiple. So kind of iffy. Hypothermic Charges would be nice if you could put them on something other than a Bedian ship. Maybe with a penalty, but I don't know why they limited it to just them, so that kind of ruins that one. It's not a bad ship. It's definitely a good support ship. Has a lot of nice things it can detain, debuff, you know, knock out shields, grapple enemies to hold them in place, and let your other ships tear them apart. 3 attack isn't going to be winning you a lot of wars of attrition. 5 hull is nice. 3 shields a little squishy, but I mean, in mid-range it's a decent ship. As a support role, it's a decent ship. I just don't see this leading the charge or being much use in a full faction pure type of battle. Hopefully we'll see some more Vidian ships in the future to support them. Again, it's not one of my favorite races from the shows, so I'm not even sure what other ships, if any, that they had. But we'll see where that leads down the road. But that's about it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.